It's just a prop. This was one of my COVID projects that never actually came to fruition. So I tuned it. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Past. Today I'm talking to Michael Schmiedeler and Ike Reilly about Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night, which is coming to VOD and digital on August 27, 2024. I'm going to talk to them right now. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. Also, a lot. Thank you. All right, so thanks so much for joining me today. I've got Mike Schmiedeler and Ike Reilly talking about Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night, which is coming to VOD and digital on August 27th, 2024. It is a wonderful, raw, beautiful, and painful at times documentary that looks at Ike's life and career. It has ups and downs. It has some very honest stories and very honest takes about it. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a fantastic documentary, so I'm really excited to talk to you, and thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for watching too, David.
Of
Appreciate it.
course. No, I watched it twice. I couldn't get enough of it. It was fantastic. So Mike, first question for you. What, how did you get involved in this project and what made you want to make a movie about Ike's life?
Absolutely. My good friend and co-director, co-writer, and editor of the film, Michael O'Brien, I'd worked with, done a lot of different documentaries, TV series with him. And he's known Ike for even longer. And so in 2013, he's like, you got to come listen to this guy. You'll love him. You'll love him. I know you will. So I went and saw the Ike Reilly assassination plane at Shuba's, which is a bar here in Chicago, nice big room venue. And they were phenomenal, blew the doors off. And I'm like, these guys are great. Why are they not bigger? Like they should be on the radio everywhere. And time went on. I met him and kept going to more shows, kept staying in touch with him. And in 2018, I'm at a show at Fitzgerald's, another location here in Chicago. And during the show, I'm like, you know what? I know how much footage Ike has. I know how much footage Michael O'Brien has. I know we should just do a documentary on him. He is one of the most interesting and intriguing artists I know. So I pitched Ike, and Ike's like, I'm not that interesting. It took me 9 months to wear him down. And finally, he's like, maybe. I mean, I wrote a pitch, was ready to go. And he's like, whatever. And so then it only took me 6 weeks to get funding. And if anybody knows independent film, the hard part's the money. The easy part's supposedly the talent. And needless to say, I found, several other fans of his with means who were ready to get behind me and my idea, and we're all in. And so those guys came on board and we got started. 2020, COVID hit and kind of slowed us down, but it turned out to be a little bit of a blessing. We had so much archive to work through that O'Brien was able to really comb through it and really organize the archive. So then we shot a ton in 2021. Shot out, with him on the road, shot a ton of interviews, shot scenes all around Libertyville. Shot for that 2022 edited, 2023 we hit festivals, and now it's coming out August 27th, 2024.
That's awesome. And also, yeah, COVID probably seemed like a bad thing at the time, but then you got some additional footage of like that kind of like ties the movie together. I love the way that this film ended and kind of some of the lessons and kind of the view that you see of Ike and his family towards the end of the film. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise, and that's amazing. You're able to get funding that quickly. I mean, it's a testament to Ike's fan base, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
A testament to
or Mike's strong arm tactics.
Hey, whatever gets it done, right? Whatever gets the story told.
Yeah.
I do love Ike's reaction to this because that also feels like, after seeing the documentary, and I know you now because I've seen your whole life. Like that feels like the kind of reaction he would have, like, I don't really want to like be in the spotlight. I don't really care that much, but and you just kept wearing him down. Eventually, like, okay, fine, just whatever, just stop bugging me.
It was kind of like that, but the reality set in that this could be a vehicle to spread my music around and give my band the notoriety and that they deserve.
I was gonna ask, like, is this just like a sleeper vehicle to get more people to hear your music? Because like full confession, like I've been to a lot of shows, I listen to a decent amount of music, very different genre than yours. I'd never heard of you or your music, but now I'm a huge fan. Like I loved the documentary. I love kind of how the music was interwoven in here. So this does feel like a way to kind of like open your world, open your repertoire to like more people and a different type of people. So
That would be the only reason I would allow such humiliating snapshots of me be showing. There's no reason to put yourself out there like that. I think the film itself is a totally entertaining vehicle. I divorced myself from being the subject of it, and I could say, all right, it's voyeuristic. You're really looking at the way, people live and the pursuit of art. But yeah, to answer your question, I would really hope that people would see it and it would allow us to work more and allow me to keep writing songs, because
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do anyway. But
It's what you're gonna do anyways. It'd be nice to like, make a decent living out of it as well. And
so,
at least or reach more people, right? Both of those
I don't want to die
are
in a pauper's grave. All right. I've seen paupers' graves. I don't want to be there.
yeah, you see you've dug them even. So, I guess no, I appreciate that were so honest and able to like put these stories out there because it does feel, you see some documentaries about artists and like they'll put some negative things in there, but it does feel very sugarcoating. There's, I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit, but there's no sugarcoating here. Like it feels like you get some very real stories about the ups and downs of your career, and especially like hearing from your family was very powerful. Like hearing some of their stories and kind of like thinking back to how that might have affected their childhood and how they grew up. And they all seem to be well-adjusted, wonderful people, but like hearing how that, affected the family life was also very powerful.
Yeah, I'd say that was one of the most, I saw some of the interviews, some of the stuff that's in the film, some of the stuff's out of the film. And, while I wasn't terrorizing them, I wasn't maybe the father that I thought I was at the time, but we're super close, I mean, they're very honest with me. And I think their honesty in the film might be off-putting to some people. I find it hilarious.
No, I actually really loved their honesty. Like I thought it was good that they were able to like it feels like they've digested what they went through and are able to like look at it in very different lights. And some of them are positive. They realize that some of them are negative, but they do realize that that's all part of how they grew up.
And humor plays, where humor is such a, you know, a medicine, for we've used it, they use it. We all have thick skin, and I think if you could give your kid thick skin, it's better than maybe any other kind of education.
Yeah. And I also loved like it is an interesting scene. It's kind of a painful scene. I'll call it like the dude, where's my car scene, because that was like that kind of came full circle because you realized that there was something that you did that wasn't great. You were trying to explain it to your younger child in a way that would be understandable, but also kind of like keeping it in a
Oh,
different light. And then your kids were also joining because they also were like trying to help raise. So it feels like they all like knew, they were all trying to help keep the family together, keep the family happy, even in the situation that would be, maybe embarrassing or difficult for
yeah.
some families to deal with.
Yeah, I think they were trying to protect me and themselves and the integrity of our family, which, what it's pretty gratifying.
Yeah, for sure. And speaking of thick skin, I also love that your wife is in this and that she also has a very kind of like she comes off as amazing. She also has a very, realistic view on what has happened. I know you were raised Catholic, you are no longer Catholic, but there must be some higher power to have you two come together and have her be the one that like decided to spend her life with you because she seems like an absolute saint.
Well, she is. She didn't want to have anything to do with this film. You could ask Mike about that, but you know, she's such an integral part of everything, the band, the family, me, so she has saintly qualities. Yeah. Mike, you can talk about your struggle with her.
She definitely had saintly qualities. She was not interested in being in this film. I will tell you that much right now. She was my hardest get for the film. I kept kind of being like, okay, great. I'm going to come shoot these days in Libertyville. And so, Kara, can you do? And it's like, I'm busy. Can't make that day. It was like, it's like out in the wild, your elusive prey, very elusive. Finally broke her down. I think Ike also may have been involved in that, just saying like they need you. And we could butter up a little bit with some of the quotes you see in the film, everybody else describing her. And she, I don't think describes herself that way at all. But she's dynamite. And I think we were able to capture how important she is to Ike, and their relationship is just so great to watch. I mean, it really is. I mean, one of the funniest lines in the film is Shane, his oldest son, says, the majority of my youth was with my mom telling my dad not what to not do, my dad doing it, and then me watching the fallout from that. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
And like, you could just see the dynamic. But, for me, one of the big draws of doing this film was the family. I mean, they are a really incredibly close-knit group of people. In the credits, Mike O'Brien did a really great thing where we were able to take a lot of these footage from these quarantine shows. And at the end of these quarantine shows, Ike, during the quarantine, the whole family would play. And then at the very end, they would leave the camera on and they would kind of come sit down and relax and eat something, drink something. And they would play music, just recorded music. And you could see them. And it was like you wanted to be on that side of the camera. You wanted to be in the room with Ike and the family. He talking about the live stream, and there's Roz, his 97-year-old mom, and Kara just walked in, and there's Hannah with her son, and you're like, you wanted to be part of that family. And who just stopped by? Well, Pete's there, and it's like this whole kind of family thing, and we wanted to kind of capture that world. And he had that also at the house. And in the credits, we also show they had this big performance rehearsal room with the bar in the house, and he used to have just his whole family in the band over there. And we're able to kind of capture that on film. And I hope that translates for the viewers. And I think it did.
Yeah, no, I think it did. It definitely, like, especially, towards the end of the film with some of the footage, you definitely get a sense that this is a wonderful, like, chaotic at times, but wonderful, close-knit, supportive family that is all kind of like, behind each other. Like, they're all kind of supporting Ike's career, but Ike is also very in love with Kara and is like very devoted to her and whatnot. And I do agree. Like, I'm glad that she was in the film, because it would have been a little weird if everyone was like, "Oh, she's amazing, she's wonderful," and she's just like not there. I think that she comes off as a very patient, wonderful, and supportive person.
She's getting there.
I mean, she's lasted this long, right? Like, it's
yeah.
uh,
She always says, "Yeah, we're doomed together."
well, I mean, lucky for her. I don't know, lucky for her, but like with your lifestyles, she'll probably be free first. So uh,
That's what she's counting on.
we hope that you have a long career of making wonderful music. It is fantastic.
There's a line of middle-aged rich dudes in Libertyville just waiting for me to kick off.
I do love your sense of humor. Who knows? Maybe she could go. Maybe she could go younger. Who knows?
She could go younger. Middle age is younger, dude.
I forget. Middle age seems old for me, but so Mike, you mentioned that you had a ton of footage in this. How did you whittle it down? I mean, the film kind of goes chronologically, but how did you whittle everything down and all these like stories from people to like into a 1 hour and 42-minute documentary?
Yeah, not easy. And that's where definitely Michael O'Brien gets full marks, because he really organized it for us. And so we knew we wanted to, and it's not really totally chronological. So what we wanted to do was we picked songs that had themes, right? So Put a Little Love in It at the top. You learn that Ike was a gravedigger, and he had this, I mean, the story behind that song is incredibly moving, but also very telling as to who he's going to become, right? Took It Lying Down. It's a conversation between him and Kara about his interaction with Donald Trump at the hotel. I learned a lot there. I learned a lot about the swagger that Ike tries to always put forward to Kara, because he's always trying to impress her. I learned that he was a doorman at a hotel. I learned that maybe I don't know, maybe he's not a giant Donald Trump fan. I'm not positive on that.
It was tough to tell. You couldn't really, your political views were just so vague in the movie.
That's the way we like it.
Yeah.
We're trying to get him to come out of his shell a little.
Trying to get those Promise Keepers to come and see us.
So by having those songs, we knew. So like you start to whittle down the songs. Like there's a song, the Ballad of the Choir Boy Bank Robber, and O'Brien did a phenomenal job cutting it. The story is amazing. It's a guy Ike knows. The story's so good. We had to cut it out of the film because it was like kind of the self-contained, like, well, I mean, we're at 4 hours, right? And and in my mind, it was a great 4 hours. So to distill it down to that 140, right, is hard choices. But I'd much rather be in the position of making hard choices rather than being in the position of like, I got 40 good minutes. I need another 40, and they're not going to be good. It's like, no, we got a good, we just got to make some tough choices now.
And speaking of speaking of the whittling it down, like I was curious. It sounds like there is a lot of interesting footage. Is there going to be like a, I don't know, "Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night" B-sides at some point? Maybe like in a special edition. I'd love to see some, stories of the other songs, some like other interviews, things like that. Like, is there any plan for what to do with the additional footage, or are you just happy to get this out and for the world to see it?
I
Well,
got big plans. I got big
Mike,
plans. I got
Mike has a lot of plans. The only thing I know for sure is that we've got an incredible group of songs, live songs already edited that would have brief uh, explanations and some spine that would connect them together. But that's not what Mike's talking. Mike has, he's like the invasion of Russia plan. He's got a lot of details.
get him. I want to get him on late night this calendar year. My 2.0 idea is we take all these quarantine shows, and there's so many of them. We whittle them down. We do a whole series of them, and then meanwhile we will have already gone on tour at bigger venues because everybody knows who he is. We meet some friends along the way. We film that whole thing. That's season 3 right there, and then we turn around and do season 4 on top of that.
So the band was the Ike Reilly assassination, and this feels like the Ike Reilly experience, Ike Reilly rejuvenation. I don't know which, or resurrection, the Ike Reilly resurrection.
Yeah.
IRR isn't as good of an acronym as IRA though, but we'll work on it.
IRA, people have been giving me shit about it. We've been called that 20 years. Somebody wrote, it's a terrorist organization. We're very, you can't, I go, it's an acronym for this band, whatever. But, these are politically correct times, I guess.
Well, I also thought it fit with your personality, like the milieu of your on-stage presence felt very appropriate to have IRA be the acronym for your band. So
I agree.
yes.
If
So
the IRA, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, please finish your story. I'm curious about yours.
I don't have much more. I was going to say, we don't support killing innocent people. We're just a rock and roll band.
That's a good disclaimer. No, I agree. The rebellious nature of what the IRA is doing was what I kind of fit. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be treaded upon,
And so the film was called "Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night." How did you come up with that specific song for the title? I mean, there's so many songs that you could have chosen. What was it about that one that spoke for this film?
Well, we kicked around different ideas. My original idea was a song he has called "Hanging Around," and then we kicked around different ideas. This one, I think, speaks to the film in a lot of ways, and Ike's career and kind of the message and themes maybe in a stronger way.
I mean,
So
it's
yeah, Ike, your thoughts? I mean,
yeah, I think that song is about being in an untenable situation and still finding joy in life. That song's about two people that are going to break off their romance or marriage, and yet they still live in the same house because of financial situation. So when Friday night comes around, you got to make the best of it and try to get along. And that's kind of, what the film's about. We're going to do our best to, live a life and not get bogged down with the day-to-day problems of stress, finances, and anxiety, I guess.
That's a perfect explanation. So, like, you are now on my bucket list of artists to see. Last question: do either of you have an artist on your bucket list that you are like really excited to see at some point in the future? We'll start with Mike.
who that I haven't seen already?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Other than like Ike playing, like Madison Square Garden or something, but
Oh, exactly. You know what? I think I missed the boat on this, but I had an opportunity in college to see Public Enemy, and I missed that opportunity. I really would have loved to see Public Enemy.
that's a good answer. Ike, what about you?
Believe it or
Anyone?
not, I have not been to a lot of shows because I'm doing it, I've seen almost everybody I want to see. There's got to be, I can't think of anybody. I guess I'd go see Oasis because my boys think Liam Gallagher's so funny. They love him. I mean, I like Oasis. I'm fortunate enough to have performed on stage with my two favorite artists of all time. I opened for Joe Strummer and the Mescaleros. I got to meet him and hang out with him, and I did 4 nights before Shane McGowan and the Pogues. So I was able not only to open for those guys, my wife Kara and I sat on stage on St. Patrick's Day in Chicago with our backs to the audience and got to watch Shane sing with the Pogues. So I've been fortunate to see my favorite artists. I guess I don't know who I'd like to see right now, but those are the two greatest. I got to see and play with my favorite artists. So
That's awesome. That is a great story. I'm glad that your bucket list is filled, and you can see more of Ike's life in his shows in Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night, coming to VOD and digital on August 27, 2024. Like I said, it's a fantastic documentary. This is co-director Mike Schmiedeler and the star Ike Reilly. Thank you so much for your time.
thank you for your diligence.
Yeah, David, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
That was Michael Schmiedeler and Ike Reilly talking about Don't Turn Your Back on Friday Night, which is coming to digital and on demand on August 27, 2024. It is a wonderful, heartfelt, raw, and fascinating documentary about Ike Reilly's life and career and some of the ups and downs that happened along the way. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a fantastic documentary, so definitely make sure to check it out. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.